The preliminary report of the investigation into the Air India Dreamliner crash in Ahmedabad on the 12th of June has been released. One of the key findings confirms that they had been suspected both engines, in fact, of the plane had shut down mid-air within seconds of takeoff. Now, this report by the Aircraft Accident Investigation Bureau in the crash of the Boeing Dreamliner 787, in which at least 270 people were killed, including 241 of the 242 which were on board, had said that the fuel cutoff switches which control fuel flow to both the engines had transitioned from run to cutoff position one after another within a second of each other. And this in fact took place when they were mid-air. In fact, in the cockpit, in the recording as well, one pilot can be heard saying, "Why did you cut off fuel?" to the other pilot, while the other pilot had replied that he didn't cut off fuel. Now, in fact, the report also says that both pilots did attempt to salvage the situation by trying to push the switches back from cut off to run position, but it seems that at that moment the ram air turbine was deployed as well, which was seen in the CCTV visual as well, deployed, which indicates that a total loss of power and thrust in the aircraft had taken place. Also, data from the Enhanced Airborne Flight Recorder, commonly known as the black box, revealed that both switches were moved back to the run position, like I said, while the engine showed signs of recovery, engine 2 could not. The aircraft was airborne only for 32 seconds, and in the last couple of seconds was when the pilot had sent the Mayday message. My colleague Anuj joins us with more details. Anuj, now the report having come out, several details have come in, especially the black box having put some clarity on what exactly took place at the moment of the clash. There is still some gaps in the story.
Well, yes, many points have become clear 1 month after the ghastly crash that took place on the 12th of June last month. But more importantly, what this preliminary report by AAIF shows is that as of now, the sole reason for the crash is the engine failure. As you said, the transition of the engines from run to cut off is the primary reason for the crash. It also suggests that the earlier theories, about how a bird hit would have affected this entire thing, were the pilots and the crew completely medically fit to take on this particular flight? Was the takeoff done within all the limits? Those things have to be put aside, because the preliminary report has given it a green light, stating that all of the basics were taken care of. In fact, it is the condition of the engines which resulted into this this particular act. It also states, or rather captures, a very brief conversation between the two pilots in the cockpit, where after the transition happens from run to cut off, one of the pilots asks the other on why did he cut off, and the other replies, "I didn't," making it clear that there would be a non-manual or an automatic or an engine-driven reason that might have resulted in this kind of a thing. However, more importantly, we also know that the Air India company might also come into some sort of trouble because of the lack of inspection that they showed, considering that we had the FAA, that is the Federal Aviation Administration, calling for some sort of safety advisory about a possible flaw when it comes to the fuel management, right, that results in the transition of engines from run to cut off. But it was not reportedly looked into with much detail by Air India. Now all eyes on whether action is taken against them for this.
Absolutely, Anuj, stay on with us. Let me bring in my colleague Tanushka also joining us. Tanushka, like Anuj was mentioning, this is a key point as far as the report is concerned. Of course, the cockpit recording where the pilots are clearly heard saying, and there is surprise, they're heard saying that one of them asking, "Why did you cut off?" and the other replying that he didn't. Now, the FAA's report, or the FAA's concern over this, had been marked earlier on as well. There was a report that said that perhaps there is no lock function in the switches, but that was not seen as a major concern.
Precisely, Aarti. This preliminary report, we are understanding, brings out a lot of, touches upon a lot of aspects. It's not just the fact that, the engines failed, but also that the thrust levers were found at idle. The black box shows takeoff thrust was still engaged, suggesting a disconnect or a failure. The the report completely rules out that the fuel was tested clean. There was no contamination from refueling sources either. Now the flap setting of the aircraft, as one can see in the images that have been provided within this report, we have a image from a third angle this time round, which has been provided within the report itself, and it shows that the flap setting was at 5 degrees and the gear was on down for normal takeoff. What we do understand as well is that there is no immediate sabotage evidence, but what you were referring to as well, the FAA advisory has been on possible fuel switch flaw which existed, and this the FAA also says is because, or rather could be due to because the inspections that were not done by Air India. Now, why is it that these possible fuel switch flaws were not looked into by Air India is the question at this point. The aircraft was within weight as well and balance limits. No dangerous goods were on board either. So this whole engine failure, the two engines, one of the engines did try to relight as well, is what the conversation is around at this point, and that is the inspection which needs to be done, or which was rather not done at this point. So that is the investigation point that does come in at this point. All of this is as per the enhanced airborne flight recorder data that we have right now from this preliminary report by the AIB.
Bring in my colleague Anuj again. Anuj, now as far as the details that are coming in, there's again the question that is being raised is if this incident had taken place perhaps mid-flight, some more time later, could there have been time for the engines to restart? Because we are seeing that there was such a similar incident that had taken place with another 787 aircraft, but the pilots had more time to restart the engines.
One thing that suggests that if the incident had taken place a little later when the flight took off, there would have been a chance of this, is because one of the engines did show signs of recovery. However, the other did not. But it is the time that played a very detrimental role into all of this. If you look at the report, it states very clearly that it only 39 seconds after the takeoff, the flight came down and it did not even complete the distance of 1 nautical mile. In fact, it came down within 0.9 nautical miles, leaving very little to zero chance in front of the pilots to take care of it. What it also suggests, as Tanushka was saying, is that the takeoff was completely fine. The flap position, although it was later found out to be burned because of the severe damage that was caused to it after the crash, suggests that the takeoff was completely fine, and all the boxes that the crew and that the pilots had to tick off in the beginning were done rightly so. It was the engine failure that led to this massive crash, especially one engine which did not show any signs of recovery. Now, because it was only 39 seconds or less than 1 nautical mile, it had no other place but that particular medical hostel that it had to cramp into. Whether things would have been different if it had traveled for a little longer, where the pilots could have been able to spot a relatively freer area, things could have been a little different. Those are all the things that will perhaps become clear in the upcoming reports. What we also know is that, considering that this is only a preliminary report, later investigation will still be carried on, shedding more light on the details.
Absolutely. Tanushka, now, of course, the next question, like Anuj was mentioning, is when the final report comes, there will be more details that come out. But it also brings out a question on what exactly the Civil Aviation Ministry will do, what action it will take after the preliminary report, and as well as when the final report comes.
Right, Aarti. So the Aircraft Accident Investigation Bureau is an independent body. So they are solely responsible for carrying out such sort of investigations. Even in the past, with respect to air accidents, it has been the AIB that has been entirely in charge. Now, of course, they are operating within the International Civil Aviation Guidelines as well, the ICAO guidelines, which are, very strongly that have been enforced upon. Remember, the crash happened on June 12th, and within 30 days, July 12th, a report has come about. Now, the Ministry of Civil Aviation, as far as the ministry is concerned, they've said that They will provide all sort of transparency that is required to the process, but they will also leave it up to the AIB as far as the investigation is concerned. So we do have the preliminary report right now, which does give us a lot of comprehensive details about a lot of things that were in question, such as the pilot's role as well, which has been ruled out. The report says that the pilots were completely medically fit and fine, well rested. They were, their tests were conducted perfectly fine. So that is not an issue at all. We do understand that, of course, the engines were the concern. Engine 1 fuel cutoff switch transitioned from cutoff to run within seconds of takeoff. So there is no bird activity also that has been called for as possible reason for the crash. So all of these things have also been ruled out. Now, when fuel control switches are moved from cutoff to run while the aircraft is still in flight, each engine's full authority dual engine control automatically manages the relight and thrust recovery sequence of ignition and fuel introduction, which is when what we do understand happened is that the other engine tried to relight but failed as well. So the EGT was also observed to be rising for both the engines, indicating a relight. All of this is mentioned in the report as well. And we do understand that the EAFR, the flight recorder, also stopped recording any of these details. The cockpit recorder as well, where the pilot calls in for the mayday. Their last words or their last exchange being that of, why did you turn off the engine? And the other one says that they did not. All of this also goes off within seconds of takeoff. So the flight was only in air for 32 seconds. And all of this happened within that timeline only. The ATCO, the air traffic control, inquired about the call sign. ATCO did not get any response, but observed that the aircraft was crashing outside the airport boundary and activated the emergency response.
Absolutely, Tanushka. Now, there's also already been an investigation of sorts, or checks that will have to be taken for Dreamliners that had been announced after the crash as well. But in terms of more action, do we have any indication of what's coming?
What's coming is, of course, we expect a final report. Now, when that final report will come about is definitely a waiting game at this point. As per, earlier reports by the AIB in terms of investigation, one can see that, such sort of investigation reports, the final reports have come about within, after months of the incident happening. So the fact that we have a preliminary report, and it's very comprehensive with, image details as well, from whatever has been recovered from the crash flight within a month is quite a big deal. And what we do understand in terms of further of this investigation is that a final report will obviously be expected. AIB is not the only body. There's NTSB as well, FAA as well. So a lot of other bodies involved in this investigation too. As far as Dreamliner is concerned, Boeing is concerned, Boeing has also let out a statement saying that they are supporting the investigation and will defer to AIB whenever it is needed. So they maintain their stance of, quite a neutral stance of maintaining their support through the investigation. Air India also says that they have been contributing to the investigation since day one. Of course, Air India is compelled to do so, being the party involved in this case. And we do understand that, of course, these sort of further understanding with respect to airlines, what sort of action will be taken on airlines, Air India, Boeing, of course, being the aircraft manufacturer, is in question right now.
Right. Anuj, also take us through what reactions are coming in from the family members of those who've lost their lives. I'm sure that they also must be quite tensed and trying to know what exactly happened aboard the Dreamliner.
Because the report has only come a while back, we haven't gotten a chance to get in touch with the family to get their reaction. But, when we were talking to the family members, especially the pilots here in Mumbai, because both the pilots are from here, what we could gather from them is that technically both of them were very sound. So, given the rumors that were making rounds without any substance earlier about how there might be a possibility of the pilots not being completely fit, not having complete control over the flight, that is something that made the families and the friends airlines really anxious in the beginning, because both of them had, especially the pilot in this case, Subrewal, had a very, very good experience of close to 8,000 flying hours, and the co-pilot was also a very promising one. So yeah, those things did make them a little conscious, a little anxious in the beginning. This report, the findings of this report, which state that the intervention of the pilot in the fall of the plane as such is quite limited, and that would definitely be something that would provide them with a bit of delight.
Right, Anuj, stay on with us. Let me bring in my colleague Tanushka as well. Tanushka, now as far as aviation experts are concerned, what are they saying? Because the report also said that the RAT was deployed, that was seen in the CCTV as well. And it seems that everything else went as per protocol, or as how things should go. But what people are not quite being able to put their fingers on is exactly how the switch had gone from run to cut off. And when pushed back to run, it didn't quite seem to work.
That's precisely what, needs investigation into the report as well. That is the major fault that the report has also highlighted, that why did this sort of, run to cut off switch happened with the engines, and why was this inspection not done beforehand? Now we do have aside from the report as well, responses from Boeing also coming in with respect to the report. Boeing President CEO Kelly Ortberg has said, of course, extending their condolences to the families of those who lost their loved ones in this crash, and they've said that they have spoken to Air India Chairman N. Chandrasekaran to offer their full support, and the Boeing team stands ready to support the investigation led by India's AIB. Now, Boeing has also said in this statement by the CEO that they will defer to India's AIB to provide information about Air India Flight 171 in adherence with, of course, the United Nations International Civil Aviation Organization protocol under Annex 13. So this is what we're hearing from Boeing at this point. Right. Remember that this aircraft was a wide-bodied aircraft, a Dreamliner 787.
Right. Tanushka, in fact, we're getting some breaking news coming in. Let's take a look at this. Boeing chief's statement. In fact, Kelly Ortberg's first statement, she says deep condolences to the loved ones, had a word with the AIR chairman and ready to support the investigation. This is, of course, the crux of what the CEO has now said. This is Boeing chief's statement. Remember, Boeing has earlier as well come under fire for several investigations as far as loopholes are concerned with their aircrafts. My colleague Tanushka still with us. Tanushka, take us through more on this particular statement. Of course, having stood with the investigation, the chief also says that that they've had a word with Air India.
Right, precisely, Aarti. Of course, the preliminary report came in late last night at around 1:16 a.m. And ever since then, Boeing, Air India have also come out with their own statements as a response to AIB's report. Now, what this statement from the CEO, this is the first word that is coming from Boeing CEO Kelly Ortberg, says is that of course, they extend their condolences to the families of those who have lost their loved ones, and they say that they will. They've spoken to Air India Chairman N. Chandrasekaran, and they've said that they're going to offer their full support with respect to the investigation, and the Boeing team stands ready to support the investigation at any point, and that they will also defer to India's Aircraft Investigation Bureau, the AIB, and also that they're maintaining this sort of stance that they will extend any sort of support. Air India has also, of course, said in a statement that they have been providing all sort of support in the investigation. Of course, they are compelled to do so.
Right. Thank you, Tanushka and Anuj, for joining us and bringing us those details. We'll, of course, continue tracking this story and more updates that come on. NDTV's Vishwa Shom also has more details on what this means for Dreamliners. Take a look.
The fact is that Boeing, which is part of the investigations, the NTSB, the National Transport Safety Board of the United States, which is very much the gold standard of investigations like this. I mean, they've got decades of experience in dealing with this sort of thing. And General Electric, as the engine manufacturer of the Gen X engines, which power the Dreamliner, one of the most powerful engines of their class in this category of aircraft, none of them sounded out an alert to their clients, in other words, operators of the Dreamliner around the world. So the question that arises is, if they haven't already done that, why have they not done that? Is it because they have discounted the possibility of a failure on the Dreamliner, a systemic failure on the Dreamliner aircraft or on the GenX engine, or have they just delayed taking that decision? On the basis of what we are seeing over here, it does appear to be fairly inconclusive. And I think there will be many, many more questions which are raised on why were the fuel switches moved from on to off in the first place. We just don't know.